Guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the Three Hammers podcast. Here as always with Luke and another special guest this week. We've got Gio from Hammers Chat. How's it going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've got a bit of the man flu, but powering through it as a warrior, as we are.
To be fair, you both sound a bit bad.
Yeah.
And what better thing to talk about?
Yeah, well, me and Paul will gratefully receive your sympathy for illness as well as being a West Ham fan throughout the show. Thank you.
Right, let me just drop into the chat before we get on the show. Hammers Chat person, Charlie Walsh, lads. DV says, come on, lads. I'm watching up to do. Need some material to watch while doing it. And Charlie says, I have nothing important to do. I'm just impatient. Okay. So let's start with manager news. You did a video the other day, Gio, that I did watch in terms of the odds. And since then, mate, the odds have changed. And I'll just flash them up very, very quickly for anyone who doesn't know. So the Howe now is odds on favourite. Chrissy Houghton just behind him on 7-2. And David Moyes 6-1. I know you can't read too much into Sky Bet. What do you make of that? Eddie Howe going favourite today? Start with Gio.
Like you said, I don't read too much into it. One thing I have discovered, though, since doing the last video is, and I had a little look to see if it was incorrect, because it sounded too good to be true. But Eddie Howe's contract's only got about 7 months left to run at Bournemouth, which is a game changer, I think. If there was a little bit of tapping up going on, or even if we did go get him now, the compensation we'd have to pay is a lot less than what I would have expected. I keep using Brendan Rodgers to Leicester as a rule of thumb because I think it's a fair rule of thumb. They went up to Celtic and got him, and it cost them $9 million to get him out of Celtic. So I thought it would be a reasonably similar fee to get Howe. But that contract news is certainly perhaps changed my perspective of it a little bit. It's a lot more achievable than it was last week.
I think it's got legs now. I think it's got a bit of legs.
I think so. I think there's a little bit of possible. Rather than, nah, I don't think so. I mean,
does he excite you? You've been on the fence. I've been watching your videos. You're very on the fence with who your favourite is.
This is why are you making me say someone that's going to be unpopular already? 5 minutes in the show, and already people are going to think, "What is he on about?" I think he did fantastic with Bournemouth, but I think for the last couple of seasons, I've almost expected a bit more from them. They're now an established Premier League side. He spent lots of money, but there's not really much to show for it. There's only so long you can be sort of the plucky little underdogs until actually you then need to get away from that. You need to become a team that actually you're expected to finish in the top 10. You're expected to go for the cups, and how the cups he hasn't done anything in. So that's sort of my priority as a West Ham fan, is to win a cup, and we're now going after a manager who's not done it with Bournemouth. And Bournemouth's squad's a good squad. I think Bournemouth have got a really good squad. He spent lots of money, and the style of football he plays, I like the style of football he plays. He does have a few favourites at Bournemouth, and he sometimes is hesitant to leave them out rather because of form. He chooses to keep them in. I'd welcome him at West Ham, but he wouldn't be my number uno choice.
It's interesting you talk about wanting to see him do more, about being the plucky underdog team. I literally, just before we come on, I read a couple of statistics basically over the last, I think it was 4 or 5 seasons. And over the last 5 seasons, Bournemouth have a higher net spend, not only a higher net spend than West Ham, they've got a higher net spend than Liverpool, which is, they've spent
good players, though. Key's a very good signing.
They've spent more than us, but their average position's actually been lower than us in that same time, which is it's just an interesting point. It is very much, Bournemouth have that reputation, like you say, Gio, plucky underdog team, but they're not really. They've got a lot of weight behind them. Financially, don't get me wrong, I'll welcome Eddie Howe to come into West Ham 100%. But he's far from a proven manager, and it would be a gamble.
You know what I see in Bournemouth? I see West Ham of what I grew up watching in the sort of late 90s. They remind me of that sort of team. We're sort of like a favourite team. He reminds me, as I've said so many times, he reminds me of Kirbishley at Charlton. It's like he takes Charlton to that just as far as he can. Will he do it at West Ham? Listen, I'll take him. I have doubts. I do. I don't like saying that, but I do have doubts. Yeah.
I think Dyche. I know I'm moving on to the next one here, but I think
Dyche, we'll go on. Yeah.
I think Dyche would yield better results than Howe. But I think you can make a case that Howe's football will maybe be more entertaining when they're both at the top of their game. I think Howe's football will be more entertaining, but I think Dyche would probably see us. If they were both coming over a couple of years and leave, I think Dyche would leave with the higher win percentage, if you want to go by that.
We wouldn't be conceding set pieces with Dyche.
Yeah, I think he would. I think Dyche would improve the squad greater. I think he'd get more out of the squad that we've got here ready to go. But I think Howe has that potential stardust about him a little bit. I don't think Bournemouth's getting the full potential out of Howe, if that makes sense. I don't think. Like, I don't think we've seen as far as he can go as a manager yet. But you've got to blame Howe for that a little bit and say, well, come on, mate, you're spending shed loads of money. You spent 19 million on Solanke, you spent 22 million on Jordan Ibe, you know, so it's not like you're not poor.
So that comment just made me laugh, so I thought I'd put it up.
None of us are disagreeing.
No, he's got more hair than me. Paul's got to sort that blonde hair look of video. Let's just go into a few comments here, just so I don't fall behind. If we get him, we have to back him 100%, but we'll do that and not undermine him when it's get tough as per normal with West Ham. Very true. Obviously, Gonzo did a great video today in terms of they're throwing the blame at the fans now for the Pellegrini appointment. What do you make of that, Paul? Then we'll go to Gio.
Well, it's ridiculous. You know, I don't know how they can. It all obviously comes from the Burnley protests and all the rest of it. So yeah, West Ham fans wanted to see a change. Don't get me wrong, I was happy when Pellegrini came in, but then they were trying to say that he'd been in the works before those protests. They were trying to say, oh no, because that was the whole thing with the march and all the rest of it. For what we're led to believe anyway, they were telling certain people, no, listen, hold off. We've got something in the work, something big's coming. And it sounds like that something big was Pellegrini. So it sounds like it was supposedly in the works before then. So I don't know how they can blame the fans. And it's a joke anyway. That I'd be amazed if any West Ham fans surprised. That's just what they do. You know, they deflect off of themselves. They blame anyone apart from themselves. And talking about the comment there about you have to back him 100%, they'll back him 100% in the first window, then they'll give him a little bit less in the next window, and then they'll cut the funding altogether. They've done it with every single manager they've employed.
Gio, do you think we'll ever see a director of football at West Ham again if Husilius goes? Or will David Sullivan be playing Championship manager again?
He's had his fingers burnt, Sullivan. He's missed it. He lent his toy to someone else, and I think he's missed it. And he wants it back. So I think that's important for the next manager that comes in. I think it's a case of you are going to have to accept to work with David Sullivan.
Who is your favourite then? Who is your actual favourite? If I had to push you, who would you actually want to see?
Is probably unrealistic. Okay, but that's what you've got to go for, right? You've got.
Paul said that last week.
It's Ten Hag, the Ajax manager.
Great shout.
He plays such exciting football. Plays with youngsters.
Well.
If there's an Ajax kid over there that's not in the first team yet, that's 18, 19 years old, he'll know about him as well. I think he's slightly unrealistic, but at the same time, I am a believer that Premier League you can chuck money at people and you will get them.
He won't be on much at Ajax. You wouldn't imagine he's on that much, would you?
I also think he's done it all with Ajax. I don't think he's won the league yet with Ajax, so he'll need to do that before he wants to move. But if you take him to the Champions League semi-final, he's not going to get much better than that, is he? I mean, with the greatest respect to them, I think he overachieved getting there in the So it's him. If it's Ten Hag, I would go for a really young, exciting football.
If you was,
go on, mate.
You know, if you were like you say, Allegri, I'd love, obviously completely unrealistic, but like Kovac, who obviously just got sacked by Munich, I think would be a great appointment. But do you think that there any of these sort of up and coming managers that's out there, what incentive apart from money, obviously, is there to come and work for West Ham? Why would they look at West Ham and say, yeah, that's a club I want to go and manage? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see the appeal at the minute.
Do you think, I think any appeal for an outside, apart from the Premier League, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's well. The Premier League is part of the appeal, isn't it? It's the biggest showcase. You come to West Ham, you do well. The top six have come knocking. You look at Arsenal, and Man United, and you should be looking at a club like West Ham and Everton. Now, just take your crown blue specs off here. You should be looking at Everton, West Ham, thinking that's my stepping stone. I go there for a couple of years, then I reach for the top 6 because those managers are shaky. They're going in and out the club like there's no tomorrow now. So there's an opportunity at a top 6 club almost every 6 months at the minute, or certainly rumours. So you come in, you do well, you just bide your time, you might get an opportunity. But I think it's ego. I remember when I worked in retail and as a manager, and I remember taking a job and the store was a shambles. But I thought, I like this because I can go in there.
Completely.
I can.
It's Paul's job now. Yeah.
I can win it. You do it though, don't you, Paul? You look at it, you think, you know what? I can go in there. I can
I'm
change
get
things.
£1 million turnover in this place.
you believe in your own ability, though, and a manager will be looking at our squad, looking at our results, thinking, I can do better than that. No problem. A week on the training ground, I'll have them doing better results than Pellegrini. And it's almost like you're probing their ego a little bit and the testing someone's arrogance, going, come on, man, how arrogant are you? Come here and show us what you can do. There's only 20 jobs in the Premier League at any one point, so there's not many. So out of all the world of football, and I'm aware there's bigger and better jobs out there than the Premier League, but there's not many. No. And I just remember it was used about goalkeepers. Someone said that there's only ever 20 goalkeepers in the Premier League, though. So what are you going to do? And you can use that about the managers. There's only ever 20. So when it comes up, you got to take it.
Here's one for you then, just to push you again. So, okay, you've had your dream managers. Out of the ones are linked or not even linked, do you actually think will get it? I know you're betting men. Who's your 20 quid going on?
Before all this crowd thing, I would have. Oh, I've got money on Houghton. I took it at 14 to 1.
I think I would still put my 20 quid on Houghton.
I still think. See, Moyes is a funny one, isn't it? I can see the Moyes thing being quite probable, and David Gold and Karen Brady wanted him kept on. After he was here for the stint, they both went to give him a new deal, and it was Sullivan that said, no, we need to twist here. We need to get someone else in. So I wouldn't be surprised if Moyes was a front runner. I'm actually hoping that Everton take him pretty quick.
I am. Not that Moyes did anything wrong, but no, it's a step backwards, isn't it?
I think that's the thing. I don't think you should ever go back. He's been here, and don't get me wrong. I think Moyes did a decent job with us.
He did do a good job.
But I don't think you should ever go back. So I wouldn't really want to see him come in. No. I don't think he will either. I don't think he would.
Who would he bring in as his coaching team as well? He had his Stuart, who was doing a good job. Irvine as well, who's doing a good job. But them coaches want to come back with him as well. I think that's a question as well. I'm going to drop in the comments just to keep up the show. I've seen a lot of people calling for people like Parker and Bowyer who are unproven and haven't achieved much yet. If the board did appoint someone like that, it gets slated for having no ambition. Any of them names? Parker and Lee Bowyer? I think there's a place for Scott Parker in the future, not now.
I would say I would agree with that with both.
I like Scotty Parker. I like Scotty.
Need to see how they get on longer term. They're not, well, you never know. Look at, I hate to say it, but look at Frank Lampard. You never know if they're ready or not until you give them that chance. But I'd say I can't see the board taking a gamble like that at the moment. I can't see. I'd be very surprised.
I can't see it either. I agree with Paul. Let them do their apprenticeship elsewhere and just keep an eye on them. The difference with Gerrard and Lampard is they're big personalities. They really are. They walk in the change room. I like
Gerrard. I would have had Gerrard.
They walk in a change room and they command respect straight away. While Lee Bowyer and Scott Parker had good, solid Premier League careers, if they walked in a change room with all the Premier League, with everybody in there turn around and respect them immediately, I'm not convinced. There is a difference between a world-class player and a solid Premier League player. And I would add the Crawley brothers to that as well, by the way. I would lump them in with the other two.
Definitely. Charlie says, net spend is slightly misleading because they don't have many players worth a huge amount of money to sell, but was right. They've spent a lot more than us. Obviously, that was Bournemouth. I'd take Moyes. We know what he can do, and I think he would have done okay had he stayed. I agree. I think another season he might have done well, actually, and the players that he was sort of sniffing around.
Do you know what? I just want to say the Sundar's little profile picture there just makes me sad looking at that.
I know. It really great picture, that as well. Good picture. Page, I can't work out what happened to In Pale We Trust. Hi, he is now. I agree. I was saying that in work actually today. It's gone from like 10 weeks ago. Oh, Pellegrini, brilliant manager. We're going to get top 6 to boom, just get him out of the club. You definitely Pellegrini out as well, Gio.
No.
You're not. You're sort of 50-50.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask this.
No. I just realised I watch nearly all your videos. I'm a big fan, and realised you've never actually said yes or no.
No, I'm on the fence.
What keeps you on the fence?
It's his first rough patch, isn't it? I think you've got to give him a chance. I think he's had a bit unlucky with injuries. The only thing that pushes me on the fence is Pellegrini himself a little bit, like because you choose Zabaleta and Roberto and that. I think, well, hang on a minute, you're sort of. I believe a manager should live and die by his own sword, and I think Pellegrini is sometimes stabbing himself with his sword, and I think that's a little bit of the problem. But at the same time, I was happy with last season, boys. I was happy with it. I thought, I thought there was good games. I thought there was boring games, and there was some okay games. I remember in December from 1-4-5 in a row, we won every game differently. You know, against Man United, we played champagne football. It was superb, wasn't it? Felipe Anderson's goal and that. Then I think we beat Huddersfield of Fool, and one of them, Hernandez, came off the bench and saved us, but it was clinical. You know, we had 2 chances, bam, 2 goals, we won the game. And the other one, it was all about like just bombarding the goal constantly, and then we just managed to win because we had better players in the end.
It seems like he's lost his attacking.
He looks beaten. He looks beaten.
Looks like Slav.
He does. He looks like he's giving up a little bit. I feel a bit sorry for him this week because I think, you know, would you like to go to your work tomorrow, boys, and everybody's talking about who's going to come in and replace you? Because let's be fair, when there's no coaches or manager in the changing room at training, I bet you that's what the West Ham players are talking about. Like, they will be discussing the rumours. You can't switch off from this as a footballer. You can't see it's everywhere. It's all over the press. Who's going to be coming?
You did see his press conference today, obviously, was what he was quoted as well. I think about my present, not my future. That speaks a lot of volumes. I think.
The thing is, I think he gets harshly done for his confidence, and I think he protects the players a lot. And a lot of people see it as him not blaming the players. I think it's 2 different things. I think he's just, what he could be saying in private is completely different. I would be more surprised if he came out in a press conference and said, "You know what, boys, Roberto's awful. Look at him. Did you see what he's done? He is awful." You know, he can't say that. He's got to come out and defend his keeper.
He's got to be diplomatic,
But yeah, it's fair enough. It's fair enough protecting him, but then he keeps picking him. But I think the biggest problem for me with Pellegrini at the minute, and don't get me wrong, I've said many times, I was a massive Pellegrini supporter. I was a big Pellegrini fan. But over the last month and a half, I've seen no improvement. I've seen no signs at all, none, that he's going to turn this around. None. I don't. That for me is the most worrying thing. I would be all for saying, no, it's a rough patch, give him chance to turn it around. But he's done nothing different. He's done nothing different at all. He keeps doing the same thing, picking the same players, apart from maybe shuffling the centre-backs about a little bit. I think
the Fabianski injury did kill us.
It's had a massive impact. It has had a massive impact, and there's the defence have got no confidence in the keeper. So why does he keep picking him? Don't get me wrong, I've said as well, you know, Martin, I don't believe is anywhere near Premier League level, but change something, do something, try something different.
We'll go into the goalkeeper when we talk about Chelsea in a minute. So I'll come into the comments again. If he's got 4 games left, we'll be rooted in the bottom 3. Another crap season awaits. Do you see a win coming in the next 3 or 4 games? Either of you? No, I don't either. I don't. Wolves, fear them. I've got this feeling that Arsenal are going to do what Tottenham did.
Yeah, I think
we'll be playing a new manager, possibly at that game.
Chelsea are absolutely embarrassed.
Tammy Abrahams got injured last night. That's the only thingy, but we'll go into that.
Yeah, but Batshuayi, I'd actually rather face Abraham than Batshuayi for some reason. Batshuayi is just one of those players. I can just tell he's going to get
the record against us.
Yeah, he's going to get a hat trick, isn't he? Then he's going to post on social media about Batman and whatever. Here we go. It's just.
Welsh Emma says, "Gio, are you pitching for another manager's job?"
Another? What's the first one?
Yeah, I know. Charlie says, "Why do you think Sullivan refuses to let go of the control of transfers?" I think he likes the game. I think he got the Payet one. He thinks can pluck a Payet out all the time. And Payet is once in a lifetime, once in a football career, you pluck one of those magic players out. he probably will never ever do that again. He probably hasn't done that. I don't know what his Birmingham transfers were. You'd have to do a bit of research on that. But is that what you think? No, Gio?
It's ego, isn't it? It's just ego.
Yeah, Gio?
Yeah, I think it's ego, but I think he believes he's good at it.
Yeah,
I genuinely think he buys players and
Thinks he
wonders
knows
why the
that-
manager can't use them.
the South American market as well. He thinks he knows that market.
He's influenced by agents as well, isn't he, Sullivan? He's got a couple of mates that are in the agents game. If he needs a right back, there's two people you ring straight away and be agents when you got a right back.
Yeah. Andy Walsh says, surely we have to get a manager in before we get rock on, because at that point, not getting a decent manager in, only a run of a meal has been. Agree? If we were in the bottom three, is Eddie Howe coming?
I think it's a fair point.
Is he coming now?
I don't know. I don't know. That's
thing as well. You got to remember, like, that's the thing. I know Pellegrini, and I did see one of the comments talking about it.
Oh, you said he's got unfinished business at West Ham.
Yeah,
Get a bounce for 2 games, and then he'd be sleeping with someone's wife again. Allegedly.
We're only what 5-6 points away from 5th at the minute. So if a new manager did come in and did get a couple of results on the board early, it could turn around quite quick. So I think there's
a new manager. Sorry, mate. A new manager could come in. Obviously, Antonio's just come back. Fabianski comes back. Winston Reid, who knows if there's still a player in there, he could come back and be in the starting 11 again. Then you get the January transfer window, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, you know what? Got a bit of optimism again. I don't know.
Why can't Pellegrini have that, Bill?
That's what I'm saying. So do you let Pellegrini have that time for Fabianski to get back? And, you know, Antonio did make a huge difference when he came on. No, Tottenham had switched off by that weekend. You know,
it depends on the players, doesn't it? That's something that we
lacking confidence.
Probably not going to know. But
all lacking confidence.
If the players are still prepared to play for him, then yeah, okay, give him that time. But if the players if he's lost the dressing room, then there's no way back.
Mitchell says, "Is Mark Hughes a serious candidate? If so, that is shocking. He's awful. If he's our manager, we may as well say relegation is guaranteed, more or less." Who's his favourite? Who's some of his favourite players that he likes signing? Probably get some of them in. Apparently, X last night on his podcast ruled out Chrissy Alton. What do our players' poor performers say about our captain? So many team issues through season. The players do have some blame.
I think individually they need to take responsibility rather than looking at the captain and then constantly looking at the manager. I think every week you get frustrated with 3 or 4 players. It might change every week. It might not be the same 3 or 4 players, but you look at 3 or 4 of them on the pitch and think, well, you've let the team down today. You've let the team down today. It was the same the last game. I came away sort of raging at Anderson and Yarmolenko, thinking both of them pretty much stood still for the time they were on the park. And I think sometimes a few of the boys on the pitch need to start accepting a lot of responsibility for their role. And if Pellegrini does go, I think a few of them can hang their heads in shame, actually, because they would have massively contributed to him going. Pellegrini as well, he's not completely faultless here, but I do think the players are I think they're getting away with it. All the circus going on around the manager actually is sort of letting the players get away with it.
They can have I know you're a big fan of Snoddy. At least with Snoddy, you know, you get someone who's going to run for you. He's going to give 100%. I would put 11 Snoddies in at the minute over 11 Felipe Andersons. Do you know what I mean?
I'm a fan of his work rate, but I'm not a fan of his ability. I don't think he's a great player. I've never really been convinced by him at West Ham. But you can't fault his work rate, can you? The problem is I think he works too hard because too often he's running around. You think, hang on, you just lost all sort of positional discipline here, and there's a massive gaping hole where you're meant to be because you're chasing the keeper from a 40-yard back pass. So he does a lot of running, but I think sometimes it's a lot of pointless running, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just last one in the chat before we move on. Hypothetically, there are 4 managers in a sack race: Silva, Pell, Kiki, and Emery. The question is, would you trade Pell for any of mentioned?
I'd probably take Unai Emery. You know, I think he's got more to show.
We were linked with him, weren't we, a few years ago?
Yeah.
Do you take any?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't. I think Marco Silva's been exposed. Kiki, do you love me? No. Emery, no, I don't know. I just wouldn't take any of them. Right, we'll move on. We've had enough of this. Okay, so I'm bored of the manager stuff now. I'm so bored. Some good news though. Fabianski back in light training. Pellegrini did say in his press conference he hopes he'd be around Christmas time. He'll be back. Great news. Let's just hope he doesn't break down. Yeah, let's just hope he doesn't break down. Some rumours that Martin or the other guy, I said his name on the show the other day. Nag, is it? Nag?
Yeah.
You think they're realistically going to start on Saturday? Or Gio first?
I don't know. I've seen his comments about Roberto in the press conference, and it was Pellegrini very much on the bench here, and he says, about how he's not played very well, and he knows he's not played very well, but he says something like he needs to sort it, and I think, well, that's very much almost like a challenge for the next game, isn't it? But you could also read into it like Pellegrini acknowledging he's not been good enough, he's going to drop him. I don't know. I just hope for Pellegrini's sake he does something different, because it's the same last weekend as, when we did the preview before the Spurs game. I just said we all get the team at 2 p.m. and it's got Roberto and goal straight away. You're
straight away, you're down, yeah.
So if he changes something, he's got to roll the dice. He's got to do something different, whether it's formation, personnel, a combination of both, or something. Let the fans see that there's almost a little bit of fire left in him as a manager, and he's willing to try something. And put pressure on the players for once. Put pressure on the players.
Probably discuss it a bit more in a minute. It's a good time to do it now, in terms of you said about changes. So with Diop suspended, would you possibly take Declan Rice at centre back? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Both say yeah?
Yeah.
Who would you play in your midfield then? If that was the case.
It'd have to be Sanchez, isn't
it? You would have gone Mark and Snoddy.
I don't know. I think we need that holding midfielder though. And
I'd like to see Rice at the back though. I thought he did really well when he went there in the Tottenham game. I thought he looked really more comfortable.
He didn't have much to do. Spurs were sort of retreating a little bit, and they were playing quite direct and stuff. And it was an easy substitution for Pellegrini to do. I think putting Rice in there, because Rice would have had to do something wrong for that sub not to work, and that wasn't going to happen, was it? But I do think it sort of makes you think about Balbuena a little bit. Of the fact you have Balbuena sitting next to him, and he needed to change his centre back, but rather take the centre back on, he actually chose to bring on Sanchez and move Rice back.
I don't know what's happened to Balbuena. I don't know what's happened.
But the thing is, everyone says, "Oh, you need to do something. You need to do something." So he goes and does that, and everybody goes, "What are you doing? You can't do that." So he's trying something different. Everybody's complaining at him for trying something different.
He could go three at the back, maybe. He could go Balbuena and Rice the centre.
He could, but he won't. He's never going to.
He won't do it. But this is just some hypotheticals that I'm putting to you.
I think I'd be tempted to play Fornals in there.
I would love to see
Noble in that deeper role.
I don't know who would play in there. I'd put Sanchez. I agree. You have to have Sanchez in there, and then it would be out of Noble and Snodgrass for me. And if you go Noble, I wouldn't have Snodgrass right wing, by the way. That's the worst thing. I hate seeing Snodgrass in the wing.
Antonio has to start.
Yeah, but so I would like to see Fornals in there. So we've actually got someone that can do something with the ball when we get it, because we're not going to get it very often. We're not very often going to get the ball and be able to turn. But if we do have Antonio, say Anderson, and Alea as a front three, you want someone that can hit it 40 yards and can hit it 40 yards within 2 touches, so that you can run at them. Because we're so slow with the ball against Spurs, you can see it. The worst thing is we're slow when we're running as well. That's the worst thing.
There's no one that can travel with the ball. Like Anderson was doing it last year, but this year he's scared to take on players now. Okay, this is my Jeff Sterling bit. So Chelsea preview. Last season we lost 2-0 and we drew 0. Last time we beat them was Arnie's first goal, the 1-0 win. Just going to flash up the Premier League table for you. So they're currently sitting 4th. Played 13, won 8, drawn 2, and lost 3. Good side. Obviously, their last game. Obviously, they did play in the Champions League last night, but they did play City. Just sort of got a bit overpowered in that game, didn't they? If anyone did catch that game, it was a good match, but I think City just had that little bit of extra, too much for them. And there's no shame losing to City 2-1 at all. Who do I fear? Again, I'm going to flash something up very, very quickly. This man, Tammy Abrahams, currently 2nd, top goal scorer list. But looks like he got injured yesterday. Maybe something good for West Ham for a change. But before we did go live, we was talking to Gio about Michy Bastiai. You fear him more now?
To an extent, I think Tammy's been fantastic, but there's something about Batshuayi I don't like playing him. Whenever I see him, I think, oh, it's a thorn in our side, isn't he? He's almost like Lukaku. I could just see it coming. So I don't know. It doesn't really make a difference what striker you play against West Ham, really, does it? They could probably play Reece James up front and he'll score his first ever goal for Chelsea if he's not already got it yet.
Interesting battles if Rice was to play in midfield, obviously, he's going to be coming up against his best mate, Mason Mount. Good player. I really, really like him. Fear him.
I think the main thing is, rather than the individual players that Chelsea have got, it's just the energy that they play with. You know,
Frank's going to have them right up for this. Come on, these geezers hate me. This club hates me. These fans hate me.
Anytime anyone plays against us with any kind of pace whatsoever, they completely steamroll us, and that's all I can see happening. You know, they'll come at us. They'll be quick. They'll be running around. You know, they'll be putting the effort in.
Fans have been right up for it as well.
Our players are just not. They're just not up for it at the minute. So I don't know. I'm unfortunately predicting a disaster. I hope I'm wrong.
I think it's going to be an absolute massacre. Anyone else you really like at that club? Obviously, I like Willian. I think Willian's a really good. He's a hard worker and a skillful player as well.
Pulisic is really coming on now.
Pulisic is coming on. Yeah. Tomori, the centre back, looks really, really good. What about you, Gio? Is there a favourite for you in that Chelsea team?
Jorginho. I thought he was a bit poor last season when he came in. Funny enough, since Sarri left, he's been playing Sarri ball. So I thought he was a bit suspect last season. You were thinking, why have they got this guy in him? Was nudged N'Golo Kante out the way a little bit to get this guy in. This season, you're seeing why he's been class this season for him. Yeah. I like Emerson as well if he plays left back. I do like him. I think he's got everything to be one of the best left backs in the league in a couple of years' time. You can look across the whole pitch. The only one player. It's not that I don't like him. I think he used to be really good, but I don't think he's as good as he was. Is Azpilicueta, and that's someone I think I would like to see us really get at. There's been a couple of games I've watched Chelsea this season where he's a little bit ropey. He's got a little bit of Seamus Coleman about him. Where if you keep going at him, he does let you in. He will take a booking. You can get him on the booking and keep going at him. But they've just got class everywhere. The worst thing is though they've got it on the bench as well. You know, Mason Mount's been a sub the last two games, so he's fresh as a daisy for this one.
Great player. That leads on very nicely, actually. So you say out to the equator. Can you see any way we can beat him at the moment? Go Paul first. It looks really positive.
No, not really, unfortunately, mate. I mean, I just can't see where it come from. I just can't see where it come from. You know, we do have the individual players, you know, especially if Antonio's back in. You know, we have got players that can hurt them if they perform, but they just haven't shown that this season, and I just don't know where it's going to come from. It's possible. It's possible that we have got the players to hurt them, but I just can't see it at this moment in time.
Yeah. Any way we can hurt them?
There is ways, but that would mean Pellegrini pulling an ace out his sleeve, and then the next question is, do you have faith in Pellegrini pulling an ace out his sleeve? And the answer to that is no, unfortunately. I don't know what he could do, but if he goes and watches that Valencia game, I know it was the Champions League and Frank had a couple of players out and Abraham went off early. Valencia had chances, and I mean chances plural before Maxi Gomez missed a couple of sitters as well. They were making plenty of opportunities against Chelsea, so he's got to watch that fresh in his mind and think, right, that's how Valencia are doing it. That's how Valencia are getting opportunities. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to replicate that. But do I have faith in him doing that? No, this is the guy that describes Sheffield United as a long ball team.
And then they destroyed us, yeah. The only way I can see it, if it's believing that Pellegrini's going to change it, is if it's Antonio near Haller, give Haller less isolation on the pitch, you know. So there's someone ambling, there's some willing runners. Again, how much can Pellegrini into him? Look, Anderson, you've got to be a willing runner. Antonio, you've got to be a willing runner. Because that's what happens. All this slow play is because there's nothing in front of them. Because no one's willing to run or gamble. They all go hiding. Players. I don't know. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Gio, you don't have to make a prediction because I know you do it on your show, but if you want to, what is your prediction for the West Ham Chelsea game? I'm going 4-0. Oscar.
Okay, I'd say 4-0 as well.
I'll say 3-1.
Ooh, a goal.
Chelsea, that is, just be clear.
Would you like to divulge who you think would be our goal scorer?
Haller. It's almost like law of averages, isn't it? He's due one.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go back into the comments very, very quickly. We'll start from the. We'll work. Actually, we'll start. Finish off here. The hypothetically. That's where I finished. Okay. I know we say about Haller not getting enough support, etc., but I think he should work harder for the team as much as Arnie was. He worked so hard for the team. Yeah, I think there's an argument there that he isn't working hard enough. I think when he first came in, them first couple of games, he seemed to be getting into the midfield. He was looking for layoffs and stuff like that. You think he's working hard enough, boys? Go on. We'll start with you. Going back to you.
No, I don't think he is. There's been a couple of games I've watched him. I've been frustrated. I think he always starts with a little bit of enthusiasm, but perhaps dies a little bit as the game goes on. You can say, well, he doesn't get service, but I don't care if he gets no service. I expect him to get no service for an hour. And then when he gets service on the 61st minute, to take that chance, because that's what we're paying him to do. We're not paying him to play as a striker for 10 minutes. And if you get no service, mate, just take the other 80 off. It's all right. Don't worry about it. That's not what we're paying him to do. We're paying him to be a striker for 90 minutes, and we ain't seeing him be a striker for 90 minutes. Yeah. I do think that thing he said about Arnautovic, I think it's true and false at the same time. I also seen games where Arnautovic strolled around the pitch without an interest in the role, but did also see games where Marco Arnautovic was right up for it in hassling defenders constantly. I do think Alio needs to do more. This whole service thing as well, you've got to make your chances as well as a striker. You've got to, when the ball's out wide, you've got to start moving into positions and stuff, and I don't see that enough from him off the ball. There was someone, who did we play away last? Burnley. In the first 2 or 3 minutes, Fornals was out left, he put the ball in, and this was early in the game, so you can't say, oh, well, he was disinterested unless his attention span is 2 minutes long. The ball come in, defender missed it, and it bounced right in front of Ali and bounced away from him. And the commentator said, oh, he wasn't ready for it. Well, we paid 45 million for this guy. I expect him to be ready for it. That was a £4 million striker. Then you've got to take it and say, well, that's what you get. When you buy cheap strikers, you're going to get that. We paid prime dollar for this guy, and I expect prime performances, and he's not to blame. But the problem we've got is he starts every week by default. His position is not under threat. He could go 10 games without scoring, and he plays 11th one because we've got no one else to bring in. I think he could do more, yes.
Paul, anything to say on it?
Yeah, I think I lost you for...
yeah, it's fine. You was doing this.
I lost you for a little bit there, so I missed a little bit of it. 100% he's not doing as much as he can. I think at the start when he first came in and it looked like he was doing more, did have a lot to do with there were players sort of up buzzing around him. And I think I don't want to use the sort of lazy French stereotype, but I think there's a bit of that to it. I think he's getting fed up. I think he's thinking, what have I walked into here? What have I done? You know, this is his career on the line. And I think there's a lot of that. Yes, he should have it in himself to say, right, I'm going to pull myself out of this. But I definitely think there's a bit of sulking going on there, thinking, what have I done?
Does anyone know? Was he getting in the French team at Frankfurt?
No,
not even in the squad. Oh, yeah, so he might. Yeah, there might be a bit of that going on as well. Martin, will we start? Here we go, guys. I'm going to say, yeah. Do you guys think? Do you think Pellegrini will gamble?
I don't. Just by the comments that he's been making this week, where he's still talking about Roberto, like Gio was saying earlier. You know, he has said, "Oh, he knows he's not playing well, but he's got a big career behind him, and he's played for big clubs, and he's a good keeper." Everything he's saying, he's basically backing him. I think he'll still be playing. I don't think Martin will ever play for West Ham. I think if he was good, he would have by now.
Do you think, yeah? I think he'll stick or twist?
I think he'll stick with Roberto. I think if he was going to drop Roberto, I think in the press conference today, Roberto would have been declared injured. That's my prediction. That would have been a way to protect his keeper. Get him out and just say he's injured. He can't play. He's not dropped. He's just injured. Annan be missing from the 23s is there's something in it, isn't there? Why else is he not in there? Either he's injured or something's happening with the first team. It could be that Martin's injured and Annan's on the bench. We don't know, but I think there's something happening with the goalkeepers. Don't know what.
Yeah. Moore says we need to sort out defence so we're not taking 19 shots to our goal every game. We can risk Agner or Trot. True. I think it was you or Gonzo that actually did the video on Fabianski. Yeah, Fabianski taking 19 shots a game. He was saving another 10, 11 of them. This guy ain't saving none. And to get some young players in, agree. Listen, why Nathan Holland is not even in the squad, I do not know. Everyone knows that I'm a huge fan of Joe Powell. Maybe Joe Powell's not totally ready yet, but I'm a huge fan of him. And one of our best young players is on loan at West Brom at the moment, doing absolute wonders. I don't know whether you see the goal he set up last night. A wonder goal it was. Really was a lovely bit of play. What's your views on young players at the minute, Gio? Is there someone who's screaming there apart from Holland? Obviously, is there anyone else who's screaming that you think the job could go in now into that 11?
It's a tough environment for them to come in, though, isn't it? A team with such low morale, and they're arguing with one another on the pitch at the minute. You've seen Noble really laying into people the last couple of games, and Rice has been as well and stuff. And that's a harsh environment to throw someone in.
Yeah.
It's sink or swim time. It's a sink or swim time for a lot of players. And I think if this doesn't create an opportunity for someone, when are they going to get in? Because you're not going to put them in when we're winning, are we? Because you use the thing that we're winning. You can't get in. You can't get into the winning team. So we're losing. You still can't get in. So when do you bring them in? I think Holland, though, is the only one I would like to see in, perhaps Ben Johnson, but I don't think Fredericks has been awful. He's not been great.
I like Johnson.
But I don't think he's sort of top to be dropped, if you like. I think there's other players that we should drop. But the thing that Holland gives us is he's just fearless. Anderson's not fearless. Anderson's got fear in him. He's too scared to do stuff. Holland won't have that, and I think almost that's what we need. I mean, we just need a bit of bravery going forward. That's what Holland has.
Okay, next one says, in my opinion, the players aren't getting the criticism they deserve for playing so poorly. The players have let the fans down massively. Do you agree? Quick answer for this one. Yeah, the players, exactly what Gio said about 10, 15 minutes ago. They're taking this manager news and sort of being like, oh, it's okay, it's the manager's fault. We'll let him take the blame for the tactics. Let him take the blame for not using us correctly. Anything more on that? Or Gio, anything more on that?
I think it's like you say. I think it was covered pretty well.
Seeing anything else major there? Not really. Okay, so let's go on to some of the questions on Twitter because I want this wrapped up really in about 15 minutes, hopefully. Okay, let me just get rid of that question. Okay, right. Any questions? So, Aslan says on Twitter, are we one of the worst 3 Premier League teams this season or at the moment? Would you dare 3 teams worse than us at the moment?
Watford are. Watford are worse. Norwich and Southampton are below us, aren't they?
I can see Newcastle slipping as well. Then
Southampton have got a really good run of games coming up. By the way, I think they play Newcastle, us, Watford, and Norwich. Southampton, so I think they're a way to bounce up the table a little bit. So I don't think there is 3 teams worse than us right now.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Actually, yeah, I think like you say, Watford, but after that, we are well in there at the bottom, unfortunately.
Definitely. JP, WH2 TV, another sort of up-and-coming channel. If you had one wish, what would it be? It doesn't have to be West Ham related. All right, we'll do one West Ham related, one not West Ham related. West Ham related, we had a world-class stadium with world-class players. There you go.
Yeah, that works for me. Knock the stadium down and build a proper one.
Yeah, what about you, Gio?
Win the FA Cup.
Oh, nice. What about non-West Ham?
I want to win
No,
the Euro Millions.
if Lee was here, it'd be, I have to say world peace, and it'd do one of them Ponzi answers.
I'm selfish, so I'm not going to change the world. Oasis back together.
Oh yeah, I say that in work all the time. I'd love to go there. Charlie Walsh. Oh, this is a great question. What's one non-West Ham related thing that makes you all nostalgic? Now, I replied to this tweet on Twitter. My favourite film of all time that always gets me really nostalgic is Ghostbusters. So that is my nostalgic thing. It's me every time. And Back to the Future. Yeah. Non-West Ham nostalgia.
I don't know.
Not Oasis, no?
Nothing. No, not really, because Liam moving on and forward, isn't he? So I'm very much a forward-thinking person. But I don't know, computer games, I guess, if there's anything that would make me go back in time or relive my childhood or whatever, it would be computer games in some form.
For me, it's got to be music. So like specific, I've been listening to a lot recently, sort of early mid 2000s R&B. Just takes me back. For anyone who don't know, I spent 14 years DJing in clubs. I was an R&B and hip hop DJ, and that takes me back. I'm too old for it now. Can't be running around nightclubs until 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. But that takes me back. Yeah, they were good times.
As a Arsenal fan says, is Gio short for George? Question. I don't know that either. Is he going to keep it a secret?
What's that, sorry?
Is Gio short for George?
No, unfortunately not. Well, kind of is, I guess. My dad, my granddad, my great-granddad, they're all called George, and as the first son, I was supposed to be George, but my mother said no, so she cut in half, didn't she?
So that is your name, Gio?
Yeah, that's the genuine reason behind it as well. It's a compromise of ruining the family tradition.
There you go, guys. You learn something new every day. D. Trev says, "Hey guys, I'm finding my support very much in doubt lately. I've been a fan for well over 40 years and seen some terrible times, but feels worse now. Your thoughts, please. And hi, Gio. You and Gonzo are great." Yeah, I sort of agree with that. Like, I've not had a season ticket now for about a year and a half now. I've got to say, I don't miss it. I used to love going, and I don't want to get on all this nostalgia Upton Park stuff. I really don't want to get on that because I think, we just remember the good times, and the atmosphere wasn't always great at Upton Park. It wasn't. I certainly don't enjoy going anymore, and it's not the West Ham I used to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will feel the same way. I've heard a lot of people saying very, very similar things, that it doesn't. That's it, isn't it? It doesn't feel like the same club anymore. It doesn't feel like the same West Ham anymore. I was talking to a guy in work a couple of days ago, and he flew over to see the Spurs game, and he's a Leeds fan. He went over as a neutral just to watch a game of football, and he come back, and I was chatting to him, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, it was brilliant. The stadium was great, and this, that, and the other." But his perspective of it was like going to Wembley. Do you know what I mean? It was like a day out. Whereas for the everyday fan, it's been a long time, unfortunately, since I've been over as a season ticket holder. For the everyday fan, it's not that experience, and it's turned into a tourist club. It has. It really feels like we're turning into a tourist club. And reading online about loads of Tottenham fans in the home end and all the rest of it, and then nothing happening. Things like that just makes me think, what's going on? That's not West Ham. As things like that happening, I don't know. And even the fact that I was saying this as well, the fact that this guy went over, he bought a ticket on General Sale. How does a West Ham Tottenham home game go to General Sale? I don't know. I think there's a lot of the old fans are very disillusioned at the minute, and it does feel like we're just turning into a tourist club, which is horrible to say.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just the thing is everybody's perspective is different. Everybody's West Ham-ness is different as well. So I never experienced the terraces. Okay, I'm too young. I never experienced that. I've always been used to all seater grounds. Okay, so when people say if someone ever alludes to myself as Upton Park, they say, but you didn't know back in the 80s. well, I know that, but I liked it from what I knew. Something you didn't have. So I never had the television. So I can't sit here and go, well, I miss the old South Bank, don't I? Because, well, I don't know if I miss it or not because I never experienced it. So it's all different. And eventually, us three will be the old codgers sitting here going, oh, Upton Park. And there'll be people are now currently 10 years old and such, will be watching in 20 years' time going, oh, shut up. Fed up with your olden day stories and stuff, because they won't know any different. They won't know Upton Park. We're all going to get phased out. And there's some things definitely changing because there's far too many people. And I know Paul just said older people as a rule of thumb. But there's a lot of younger people as well. There are a lot of, I know someone who's, I think he's 22 or something. He's given up. He said, "Nah, this ain't it for me. This is rubbish. This isn't what I grew up knowing."
I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it.
No, but on Saturday, there's two people I know who are friends of mine. I know them well, and they're, let's just say, in their 40s. They might be a bit older, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll say 40s. Let's play safe. They're in their 40s. One of them left at halftime against Spurs, and another one left on the hour mark or something. It's the first time they've left the game early since Allardyce. They're just fed up. There's a lot of people I know in my little group that go to games. I'm not sure they're going to be renewing their season tickets, and it's not results based. It's not results based.
No, not at all. No. Yeah, same with me. It's not results based. Listen, I was going when Sam Allardyce, and the worst ever games I ever see was us lose to Wolves on a Wednesday night. It was awful, and I still kept going. But it just doesn't feel. I don't enjoy going. I don't enjoy the travelling home. It's all that stuff that I just don't enjoy it anymore. It seems like Upton Park was actually easier to get to than what Stratford actually is.
For us, that's the thing as well. It's little things like that I miss. Like I say, I live
up the Barking Road.
Well. Exactly that. So that's one of the things that I really miss when I came over, and I come and went to London Stadium a couple of times and watched a couple of games, and then coming back, I miss that. I miss coming out the ground and walking down the Barking Road and just the masses of crowds.
Feeling the atmosphere, in the wine bar and the bowling pub.
Atmosphere, and walking home, literally just walking home through Canning Town. I miss that. Now that is very specifically nostalgic for me. Like Joe says, there's going to be a lot of young fans. They don't care about that. That's not their history. So it's going to be very specific to me and to people like me who lived in the area and that. But I don't know. I miss that side of it as well.
It doesn't. The program salesman, the program guy who used to stand in front of the furniture shop.
It doesn't feel like we've got that community sort of atmosphere anymore.
That's the thing, isn't it? Everybody's different, but most people, not everybody, some people are very happy. Good, I'm glad they are, right? But there's a lot of people. They all miss something. It might not be the same thing, but they all miss something, and together, that's not good. When it's a collectively, everybody's just. I think everybody's just fed up, and I think it's bad timing for West Ham because it's also coincides with VAR and the Premier League and stuff. I think all that's having an impact, but when you merge it with what we're going through as a football club, it's creating a real poison almost as a football fan.
Just some comments on that. I left when we went 3-0 down to Brighton a couple of seasons ago. I probably wouldn't go to the London Stadium half as often as I do if I didn't go with Top. He wants a free drink off you, I think, on Saturday.
I don't blame it. I agree with him, to be here. He can have that one.
You think we will buy stadium in 2 years' time? I think we will buy it, not yet. Or we'll be doing it for free, sort of thing. There'll be something like that happens, that West Ham are the only viable option financially. They have to get rid of it. Or do you think different things? Go GL first, actually, because I know sort of Paul's opinion on this.
I don't see why we'd be in a rush to buy it. Also, it's very handy us not owning the ground a lot of times. If you say something, if you have a complaint about the ground, I'm sorry guys, we don't own it. It's fine to move the seats further forward. Don't own it. Can't do that. Not happy with it. Whatever, catering, toilets, whatever. Oh, sorry about that, but we don't own it. There's nothing we can do about it. You can bring it up with the stadium owners or whatever. It's a very handy shield for the board, and we know they like them. They know they like to hide behind things, and it's a very big thing for them to hide behind. I do think they'll acquire it when the sale of the football club is maybe nearing conclusion. But until that point comes, I don't see there'll be any urgency. There's no competitor to buy it either. We don't have someone else trying to buy it off them, do we? It's just us. It's a one-horse race, okay? We are in a position of power over this. We know that. And I think we'll just bide our time until we want it, not when they want to sell it. So I don't think we're buying it anytime soon, unless we go to sell the club.
Okay, so a few more comments, and then I've got a little thing I want us to do before we end the show tonight. The lack of enthusiasm for the club is speaking louder than any protest to me as a fellow fan. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same effect on the board and the team. Very, very true comment that. Lads, come on. We all know Sadiq Khan will not sell to us regardless. He hates having it. Will never let us have it. But he is mayor. Good point. Okay, so one thing that he'd come in, obviously at the minute, I was inspired a little bit because of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher did it the other night. So just for the last 5 minutes, guys, West Ham's best 11 of the 2010s, just to finish the show on a nice little positive.
Christ, that's not a quick question, is it?
We'll try and do it. We'll try and do it, right? So here's my one.
Oh, you're all right. You had the.
Oh yeah, he's prepared and everything.
Here's my one, right? So
Nolan right wing. You're playing Nolan on the right wing.
Yeah, there's no ball left mid. What's this?
I just filled the midfield up because I couldn't think of a right and left back were any good. I didn't want Cresswell in there. The right backs were awful. So I've gone, I think Adrian's wrong. Sorry, I didn't want Adrian. I wanted Fabianski. So Fabianski, Tompkins, Collins, Reed, Anzini, Scott Parker just stayed long enough in 2010 to go in. Rigobert Song, Mark Noble, Vin Nolan, Dyche Pyatt, and Jafra Sakho. Sort of players, we don't have to go through your whole 11s, but the ones that obvious that I'm missing or obvious that you would take out of my team.
When you do this, do you do the players' entire sort of contribution for the decade or just a season? Are you picking like
someone like Rigobert Song? I went
season.
I went on pure talent, and then some of them I went on their contribution to a cup. So it was a bit of a mixed bag.
Well, I'd like to have Zabaleta, 2016-17, I think, his first year anyway. He should have won Hammer of the Year that year. I'd like to have him in there. Payet's obviously the first one that walks in. Fabianski. Can argue about after that.
The striker was quite hard because, like, again, you're going on Sakho's like sort of first 14, 15 games at West Ham, and he did have a fairly good goal scoring record. But I was like, I know Paul loves Colton Cole. Probably Colton Cole would have been in his team. Like, it's very hard to pick my striker. There was a place like there's arguments if you're going on just purely talent to say maybe Joe Cole as well.
Did you not have Arnautovic in that team?
No, he didn't. And he didn't have Antonio either.
Yeah,
that's the one that I'd maybe.
Yeah, I've slated him too much to put him in my team over the years.
there's your right wing back. There you
go. Vazte.
Ricardo Vazte, great shout. Yeah, great shout. Great player. Freddie Picquion.
You know what's difficult about this? My perspective of time is not great. So I'm thinking who played for us.
I know. I had to really go through. Like, I literally just banged it out before we went live. I went on Wikipedia. Went 2010 every season squad. It's quite
cheated.
dire.
You basically cheated.
Yeah, I cheated. Yeah,
I think
it's quite dire though.
I'll give you a Nolan one.
Yeah, I think that's right. Purely because of he's
Reed as well. I don't think your team's too bad, to be honest with you, Luke. I'll give you that one. I'm not convinced by Noble playing left back.
This is young Mark Noble when he had a bit of pace.
The thing is, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, one of them did it as well. One of them did their team correctly. I hate seeing Team of the Week, by the way, when like the left backs at right back because they want to pick two left backs. Hang on a minute, that's cheating. Or they have three centre midfielders and they're all attacking mids. I'm like, well, that wouldn't work though, would it? You can't just have three attacking mid. You can't have like Madison, De Bruyne, and I don't know, Lanzini in midfield just because they had a good week. You need someone else in there. So I think one of them had like Azpilicueta left back. I think, hang about, that's cheating though, because while he's played there, you tell me to have left back Azpilicueta over left back Andy Robertson.
Sorry, great shout there in the chat.
Oh,
Diamante, great little player he was. Used to go hiding though whenever he used to get a kick. Don't forget Zaza profile. Okay, last question I've got that's just come in there. It says, if you can name two players you're buying a January transfer window, a realistic, would it be? Very, very quick. Last question. If you had a wish list of two players, who would you like to see come in?
God, I don't know. Realistic, I don't know.
geezer you've been saying actually. That is it?
Kessie.
Is he realistic though?
Yeah, I'd say it's realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's on his way out of AC Milan as well. Actually, not only is it realistic, I think they want rid of him too. So I think that's a really, really good shout. Actually, I think we need a striker. I think. Do you know? I don't know how you pronounce his name. Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. And I know we don't need an attacking midfielder, but that QPR boy is it Ease? Is that how you say Eze? Eze.
I can't say our name. I can't say our name.
Eze or Eze. He looks really talented. He won't be at QPR for long. Someone's got to take him. So while we don't need an attacking midfielder, this might be the opportunity to go get him. Or Bowen of Hull. We need someone that scores goals. Both of them are scoring and creating goals, and I think that's important.
Anyone else?
There's
You
no
take John
one
Joe.
else I think
You take John Joe. You take John Joe Shelby.
No.
I don't think we would.
No.
It's not a player that we need. I don't think he's a player that we need.
That is it, guys. Loads of stuff covered tonight. Literally loads of stuff. It's been, listen, Gio, great to have you on. It was great to have Gonzo on the other night. Your channel's doing amazing stuff at the minute. Some really, really great videos. Please subscribe to them, guys, if you hadn't already. I'm sure you already have, and that's why you're all here tonight. Until next time, guys, we've got 3-4 more shows now to the 100th show. I can't wait. We've got a couple of guests lined up to the 100th show now. Till then, guys, keep believing if you can. Thank you to Gio. Thank you to Paul. Let's go.